is it, Mrs. Lucas?
Oh,
well, just save it, will you, please? We don't want Paul's plane to arrive before we do.
It won't, Mr. Carpenter.
Now, what on earth are you talking about?
Would you mind telling me what you're talking about?
Well, just now, there was a bulletin on the radio. Pan-Atlantic Flight 643 came down 25 miles off the East Coast.
It crashed.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Now, what about the passengers?
Well, there's no news of the passengers yet. Only that the Coast Guard rescue operation was on the way.
I've got to call the airport.
Oh, my gosh, Paul.
Monk, I think it's absolutely wonderful.
You do?
Cross my heart. And I know talent. And you are good.
Well, I just wish I knew how Jean was gonna take it.
So, our probationer is a dancer in disguise, huh?
Well, it's better than being a burglar in disguise.
Why didn't you tell us about this all along, Monk? Why'd you keep us in the dark?
I don't know, I guess I was kind of ashamed.
This is Charles Carpenter. Charles Carpenter. No, madam, I don't know who your Mr. Dudley is, nor do I care. Now, if you're not going to give me that information, would you like me to get it from Commissioner Reichert? Or would you like me to call the Federal Aviation Administration? Good. Now, the moment you hear anything, do you understand, I want you to call me immediately. Nothing yet.
Oh, Lord. What are you going to tell Eric?
For the moment, nothing. Now, is he upstairs playing with his computer?
Yes, he was.
Well, shall I go get him?
No, absolutely no. Now, the first thing all of us must do is stay calm.
Yes, but I can't help thinking about that poor
Mrs.
child.
Lucas, will you please not concern yourself with Eric?
Mrs. Lucas is only trying to help.
complicate a crisis situation. Now, I'm sorry, Mrs. Lucas, but I think I know what's best for the boy.
But maybe he should know, Daddy.
That's typical, Mim. That's the way Paul would react if the situation were reversed.
Daddy, Paul is a good man. He's a wonderful father, and he's been doing a wonderful job with Eric. I just wish I'd been able to do it with him.
Don't you think eulogies are a little premature?
This is not a eulogy, Daddy.
It certainly sounded like one to me.
Oh, I know what you're thinking. You are thinking that Paul and I could never get along, right? Well, that's wrong because I have changed. I don't resent Paul anymore. I want him to see how different things are and how we can get along.
He didn't seem to notice anything different when we were in England.
That's because he was suspicious. He had a right to be, and things were very hard for us. It was very strange because it was our first meeting after the divorce, and it's hard for all of us.
There's nothing strange about that. You live in a fantasy world of religion. He lives in a fantasy world of books.
Daddy, I won't hear you talking like this. Look, I am not a fool, and neither is Paul, and it was just a hard time for all of us.
Mrs. Lucas, bring us coffee, tea, something, anything.
Yes, sir.
What are you doing, Mom? I thought you went to the airport to get Dad.
Yes, Eric, we were, but...
What's the matter?
Ashamed about what, Monk?
Dancing.
Oh, think, Jean. Think. I mean, if you hung out with the crowd he hung out with, and all of a sudden they were asking you about you wanting to dance professionally.
Professionally?
He's good, Jean. I saw him.
Oh, so is that it? You were afraid of being found out and called a sissy or something, Monk?
Well, if you want to know the truth, man, hey, come on, man. You know them dudes I used to hang out with. I mean, I never could hold my own no more if they found out I was working out with a bunch of ballet dancers.
Wait a minute. We're not dudes that you used to hang out with, and I think that's a pretty poor excuse for all of the half-truths that you've been spreading out around here. Don't you?
Well, I just couldn't see you digging it either, Gene, that's all.
Well, I bet you didn't know I was entertaining either, did you?
No.
And if you had have known, you would have told us, wouldn't you?
Maybe, I guess. I don't know.
Why not use the same old excuse? I was using my feet.
Oh, now, Gene, I'm willing to forgive.
Maybe I would, too, if he would be a little more considerate. I mean, we were worried sick, Monk. And the police were sidetracked trying to find the burglar in this neighborhood. And look at you. You're in no condition to be bothered with anything, combing the alleys of Chesterfield looking for him.
Oh, Gene, let's just drop it. It's over.
How about it, Monk? I think I'd like to hear a little apology.
Monk has already apologized.
Would you please let him speak for himself?
He's been through enough already. Can't you see that?
Hey, look, I am sorry, but, look, I'll leave if you want, but just don't fight about it, all right? Gene, I'm sorry.
Gene, we shouldn't be fighting. We should be happy.
What is this with you? Complete turnaround. 1 minute you're on my back giving me flack about him, and the next minute he can do no wrong.
Look, now I know Monk was wrong for not telling us, and Lord knows he knows too. But I'm glad he's dancing, not just relieved. I'm glad. And he's good, Gene. I saw him. And he's got a great career ahead of him with a little coaching. That's all he needs.
Is that what you're going to do, Monk? You want to dance professionally? Or, I mean, is that your plans?
Well, I don't have no plans. All I know, I want to dance.
Oh, look, believe me. Now, I've been in a lot of shows, and I've seen a lot of dances. But, Gene, Monk can hang in there with the best of them. Yes, he's unpolished. But even unpolished, he's better than most professionals. Now, do you hear what I'm saying?
Apology accepted. Monk, would you please give us some time alone?
I got to be down to the huddle anyway.
Fine.
Thanks, Carla.
You know, Carla, this isn't some happy ending. I want you to stop filling his head with dreams of Broadway. Now.
Well, I hope your visit with Dr. Galvin was painless.
Yeah, it was pretty much. There was a little bit of cramping for a little while, but I think the strain was more mental than physical.
Usually is. Say, do you want a slice of cake?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I'm pregnant, 1 more inch isn't gonna matter. Go for it.
That's the spirit. Here we go. So where's Ben this afternoon?
Well, Dave had to go somewhere. I don't know where, so Ben's doing double duty, thank you.
That's a good partnership, isn't it? Dave and Ben.
Oh, yeah, it's wonderful.
Do you realize how strangely that all came about?
You mean the fact that it was right when Ben needed someone at the clinic?
Yeah, that too, but it goes back even further.
Yeah?
God never wastes anything. Do you remember how we first met, Dave?
Refresh me.
Well, it all started when your father told Jeff Cummings about the Lord.
He did?
Mm-hmm. Well, you remember Jeff's drinking problem.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Scott persisted with Jeff, and after he'd been healed and after he'd accepted the Lord, he suddenly found himself in jail one night.
Yeah, but that was some kind of a mistake, wasn't it?
Well, in human terms, yes, but not in God's, because Jeff Cummings ended up in the same cell as Dave.
That's right. You know, I can't imagine Dave Phillips in jail for being drunk and disorderly conduct.
Exactly. Well, anyway, just as Scott shared the power and love of God with Jeff,
Jeff shared it with Dave.
right, they prayed together in the cell that night, and Dave left it a new man.
Mom, I've been thinking, and please don't let me offend you.
What?
Well, I've kind of hoped that you and Dave would get together. But, of course, that was before any of us knew that Kate and he were going to get back together. I mean, maybe it's silly, but I really think he's a lot like Dad. I mean, he's stable, and he's strong. He's a professional man, and he's handsome.
Look, Laura, you don't have to remind me of Dave's strengths.
And, you know, he has a really deep faith that doesn't compromise in his work.
Well, I think the Lord knew that somewhere down the line, Ben was going to need a good partner.
Oh, he's probably gonna come over this afternoon, by the way.
Who?
Dave. Yeah, Ben left some insurance forms here or something, and he's gonna come pick them up.
Well, I'm sure that his ears are going to be burning if you carry on about him like this. Well, you tell him that I said hello.
Wait, are you leaving?
Oh, yeah, I've got to leave. I've got 1,000 things to do at the office. You sit right there.
Thanks.
I'll get it.
Terry, what a pleasant surprise.
Eric, honey, we decided not to leave for the airport quite yet because there was this radio announcement.
Eric, your father's plane's going to be late, and rather than stand around and just waste time, why don't you go out to the kitchen and help Mrs. Lucas?
Yes, I could use some help. Come along.
Okay.
Daddy, that is wrong to deceive him.
Relax, Mim. We're doing what's best for the boy.
What's best for him? Didn't you see his face? It was all over his face. He knows something is wrong. You cannot fool a child.
Nonsense. He only knows that his father's plane is late. Now, let's not add any more to that. Besides, Paul may be found.
Daddy, that is beside the point. All we know now is that his father is in danger.
Mim, the one thing we know is the plane went down. Now, why worry him more unnecessarily?
But if Paul isn't alive, then Eric will feel betrayed.
No, children don't think that way at all.
They do think that way. They do, Daddy, because I felt betrayed and left alone more than you will ever know when I was growing up because of all the times you kept things from me.
Then it must have been a figment of your imagination, because anything I may have kept for you was no concern of yours to begin with.
Daddy, I don't believe you. One minute you're expecting him to be a little miniature Charles Carpenter, and the next minute you deny him the right to know about his father.
Mim, will you let me handle this? I brought you up, didn't I?
Yes, Daddy, you did.
Carla, why are you doing this?
Doing what?
You're obviously overcompensating and you really don't have to do it.
I'm not overcompensating for anything. I meant every word I said.
Look, for months you have been ambivalent about Monk.
I think I had every right to feel that way, don't you?
Yes, I do. Along with the unknowns.
And the givens.
And the givens.
So how am I overcompensating?
Because you're feeling guilty, Carla. I know you are.
Okay. Do you know me better than I do?
No, but I feel that sometimes you're a little slow to admit to things.
All right. Okay, I felt a little guilty. I wanted to trust him, but I couldn't. I wanted to like him, but I didn't.
And you're going to make up for everything by telling him you're going to get him some kind of career on Broadway. Is that it?
There's where you're wrong, Gene.
Well, why are you bending over backwards for the boy?
Oh, come on, mister. I couldn't bend over in any direction. And even if I could, I wouldn't do it to please, flatter, or pamper anyone.
Well, then what is it?
Oh, come on. Look, now, it's contrary to what you're thinking. Monk is not just an excellent dancer. He's a performer. I mean, he's smooth, fluid, and he's very masculine. You know, he's got the kind of stuff that agents would drop their fee just to work with. Now, if I really wanted to be on a guilt trip, I'd ignore that talent.
So what do you propose?
Well, I think Lionel needs to see him.
Lionel? Lionel Carson, that man who took you away from family life to begin with.
Oh, well, it's not me now, it's Monk. In any case, Lionel can help him.
And what about Monk's education?
Well, I'm not asking him to give that up.
Oh, come on, now get serious. What boy who's got a chance for show business is going to be concerned about a silly little diploma? Especially after he's dropped out of school once already.
Oh, I'm not advocating to drop out.
No, not directly you're not.
Not in any way. I mean, come on, Gene. I mean, he can pick his GED up anywhere. I mean, there's so many schools in New York, he could take his pick. But Monk has a chance to make it, and I want to help him.
What dream? What are you talking about?
Listen, come here. Come on, I want to talk to you. Sit down.
Oh boy, this must be a heavy one.
Well, it was. It is. You know, all this stuff about hell, it keeps coming back again and again and again, almost every night.
Russ, it's only a dream now.
Oh, listen, Marianne, it's not only a dream. And it's not just hell revisited.
Okay, I'm listening.
The last time that I had the dream, I was in hell, all right, but it was worse. This time, I was reaching out to you. I mean, that'd have been fine and everything if he'd have saved me, but it wasn't like that. You see, I was pulling you in instead of you pulling me out.
Russ.
And even if I wanted to, I couldn't let go. I couldn't stop myself. And there you were, right there, with me. I mean, I never much, really believed too much in dreams before.
Well, you shouldn't now. Russ, I'm not going to go to hell. I have put my faith in Jesus.
Maybe. But this just wasn't any ordinary dream. I mean, it was just too real, Marianne. Too close to home. I woke up sick, for crying out loud. I was sweating. I knew that there was something that I had to do.
What?
I'm doing it right now. It's about the hardest thing that I've ever had to do in my entire life.
What are you saying?
I need you, Marianne. I need you so much. But I can't let that ruin your life. I'm not going to let that ruin your life.
Russ, don't you think that after all this time, after all these months, I've needed you just as much? And maybe you couldn't let go of me in that dream because I wouldn't let you.
Aw, shucks, I could have thought of that. Okay, I will. I love you too. Bye. Okay, Ben says, and I quote, "For Dave to stay and enjoy the company."
Isn't he feeling abandoned by now?
No, not at all. He said there's a last-minute rush at the clinic, but nothing he can't handle.
Good, because I want to hear the rest of this story.
You do?
Me too.
Oh, that every man should have such a ready audience. Okay, let's see, where was I?
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, after 6 weeks had passed and Carruthers still hadn't come up with that donation, I decided it was time that I pay him a little visit.
You didn't warn him that you were going to come?
Oh, no. If I'd done that, I wouldn't have gotten in.
Ooh, I bet he was surprised.
He was. And so was I. After all, it isn't often that I blackmail somebody.
You didn't.
Well, when he refused to come up with a pledge, I did mention that my daughter Stacy, being a reporter, might find it newsworthy that a congressional candidate had already failed to keep one promise to the people in his own backyard. And as the old saying goes, the check is in the mail.
Oh, that doesn't sound like blackmail. I mean, does it to you, Mom?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's just democracy in action.
Yeah.
Scott was just keeping a politician to his word. Did I say Scott? I'm sorry, excuse me.
Russ, I can't let you go. Don't you know that?
Marianne, listen, I don't want to do this. I have to.
Wait a minute. Let's backtrack first. Russ, it's not like I've been running after you for years. I love you, that's all. And then I gave that love up and God brought it back to me. Why do you keep running from one painful situation to the next? First it was Lori, and then it was Becky, and that Sheila girl, now me. Why can't you stop running? When are you? What does that solve for you?
This is different.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Believe me.
I can't believe you, Russ. I think that you have taken my cautiousness about marriage, and you have turned that into rejection, and that is what you're running from.
I'm fine. I don't deny any of the stuff that you're saying, all right? And I'll accept any labels that you want to put on me, and I'll even add some. And maybe I haven't been able to commit myself to one person, to someone. But I'm not running from you.
Then what are you running from? A dream?
Not a dream. It's not wanting someone you love to get hurt for the first time in my life, Marianne. I'm concerned about someone else. I'm afraid about someone else. I'm not going to drag you down to hell with me.
Oh, Russ, I've told you before, hell is a consequence. You don't have to suffer.
I didn't ask you over here to work it out. It's already decided. I can't see anymore.
And what kind of consequence is that?
It's not you.
Russ, you are a part of me.
I can't be. It's over.
Please don't do this to yourself. Please don't do it to me. Father God, Russ is in your hands. Please watch over him. In Jesus' name.
Aren't you hungry? You haven't eaten anything all day. Yes? Speaking. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you very much. There were 23 survivors. Paul wasn't one of them. They're calling off the rescue operation.